let's talk about Fidelity Home Warranty. And we're going to review their business from a people's technology and processes standpoint. So people, processes, and technology is really what it comes down to when you're looking at a business to see how effective they are. I recently had to deal with Fidelity Home Warranty on a rental property. And so I'm going to explain to you from a leadership standpoint and how they run their organization, how effective they were or ineffective, and what they could do to fix that, to improve that. Because at the end of the day, I think what matters most is making sure when you're running an organization that your people, processes, and tech is set up to help the people that you serve. Right? And obviously that will help grow your organization much faster when you have tons of people rooting for you and cheering you on versus tons of people who are talking poorly about you. So unfortunately, my experience with Fidelity Home Warranty wasn't great. And so I'm going to dive into those details. So first, let's talk about the people that I had to deal with. And I also interviewed a bunch of other people that had to deal with Fidelity as well. And it was a similar experience. So when you call Fidelity, because you're forced to call, their technology is not set up where you can get an easy chat with them, email, live person right away. So right there, their tech is a big F on that. They can improve that process. Also with their vendors aren't able to submit things effectively. They've had change of services. And this is a company, I want to tell you, Fidelity Home Warranty, that I used to purchase a bunch of homes and recommended their service to so many people because this home warranty just crushed it, right? They did everything, their customer service, everything was awesome, but I guess they got purchased and bought out by a bigger company. So that's what I'm diving into right now in my recent experience with Fidelity Home Warranty and how they run their business. So on average, you have to be on the phone for about 45 minutes to an hour. It's typical when you make that phone call, you will get hung up on at least once. So that 40 minutes will get doubled into possibly, an hour to 2 hours of waiting on the phone to just get a hold of one person. And then when you deal with that person, they don't have the power to really help you. And they'll tell you what you need to hear and say, hey, did we best serve you? All that stuff. But at the end of the day, if it didn't get what the customer wanted, for example, I had to deal with an air conditioning unit that went out in a rental property, right? As you can tell, or may not know, it's in Arizona. So in Phoenix, Arizona, in the summertime, it's close to 100, 110. It is insanely hot. People cannot survive in a house with just one air conditioner unit not working, right? If you have two, it's understandable that they might make you wait a little longer. So when you deal with people, right, when you finally get a hold of somebody, they'll of course push you up the chain. They'll blame it on the vendor. The vendor will blame it on Fidelity. So there's a lot of back and forth. Nobody actually steps up and says, you know what, I'm going to take this from start to finish and make sure this process happens. So the one person at Fidelity told me that the vendor can purchase the unit or get everything set up and Fidelity will pay them. Well, the vendor is telling me, hey, look, there are no supplies. There's a supply chain issue. They're blaming COVID, right? Which is hilarious to me because if you think about math, right? Every year, a certain number of air conditioning units go out in Arizona. And so they should account for that every year. That should not be a shocker. So from a supply chain standpoint, it's surprising. Obviously, there's issue with China. There's some other things that happened. So I could understand to some degree there was a supply chain issue. Or they just didn't cover their bases and do what they needed to do because, again, most home warranty companies or insurance companies' goal is to give you as little as money back as possible, right? They're a business. They need to make a profit. There's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, when something does happen, they need to serve their customers. So from that people perspective, right, I had to discuss this with multiple conversations where people would say they take care of it. They'd say they take care of it. Nothing got done day after day after week. So it ended up turning into about a 2.5 experience where they didn't get anything done till about 2.5 weeks right? And at that point, I actually had to threaten them with lawsuits and discuss things that I don't really like to go to. At the end of the day, I just want the job taken care of. They said they got it handled once, and then they were like, we have to go through a process. I was like, I will pay extra, whatever it takes to get it there, overnight shipping, any of those things. And they were like, no, we can't do that. We have our own processes. Meanwhile, the vendor tells me, look, they have no units. They can't get it done. But if they approve my processing, approve my purchase to be able to get it, I can get it done right away. And the vendor said that from day one, basically. So he could have gotten this done almost immediately. So within a few days. So the vendor, and obviously dealing with Fidelity, they were saying things that then got me upset at the vendor because they were not being honest and truthful about what they could or couldn't do because they had to go through the food chain to get help, right? So again, from a people standpoint and a processes standpoint, they really failed on that aspect. Tech standpoint, they failed on that aspect. So I really hope they get their act together, because at the end of the day, any organization is about serving their customers, about helping them and getting them through a situation that's not so fun. So when that's handled, right, for example, let's throw in Zappos. They are such a phenomenal company from a standpoint of start to finish. They will have somebody hop on the phone with you and make sure your shoes are shipped and you get them and you're happy and you're an ecstatic customer. That speaks volumes in today's marketplace. Why? Because anybody can go on social media, anybody can create a video, anybody can go out there and talk about organization poorly. Right? So do you want this for your organization, your company, your business, where people will leave a bad review for you? People will do that. And I get it. Mistakes happen, right? Nobody's perfect when it comes to a business. Things fall through the cracks. There's a lot of things that people need help with. But if you're an organization and you can fix your processes and improve your talent pool by getting better people and training them more effectively, and getting better tech to engage a customer and a vendor and the relationships across the board so it's handled smoothly, well, that's where you start, right? When you want to grow your organization to a multi-figure business, you need to first have a system in place to generate customers on demand, right? Where you get them on a regular basis. Then you have to improve your people, your processes, and your tech to make sure that your people, and you're building a culture with your organization where you thrive and you grow and people are your biggest fans out there. When people are raving about your business, you'll get more and more customers all the time. It's that simple. We live in a marketplace where people will come out and rave about things. Yes, more people will come out and complain than they will do about rave and give compliments. And I wish that changed, because there's so many companies that do great things and they do great by their customers that we need to get out there and speak about them and tell them and compliment them. And there are plenty of people out there with Amazon reviews, the social proof, with Yelp, and all those other sites where you can speak about them and talk about how amazing they are, right? How many customers love Apple and are so committed to Apple products. So obviously those brands are crushing it in the marketplace because they're inspiring their fans to want to speak about them and engage with them. So it's just that simple. So are you one of those brands that are going to do that? I hope so. So take care. If you have any comments, a company that you really love, hit the like, subscribe, and comment below. Thank you. Take care.